And we're talking about, well, we were talking about the Recon Jet. That thing is definitely high level and definitely something that I am interested in to see how that thing works. Recon Jet, definitely, man. That's going to be a good piece of hardware coming out. So for those of you that are interested in getting on the cutting edge, go to reconinstruments.com and check out the Recon Jet. You definitely won't be, one, you won't be disappointed, and two, you definitely will be the first person in your circle to have wearable computing like that. You're not going to see anybody, and they're saying that 97% sold out. So you may not even get this thing. So you just have to decide if that's something you want. Definitely, that's something that's on the high edge of technology. Now, speaking of something that's on the high edge of technology, what about the ability to recharge your battery in your cell phone with urine-powered batteries? Oh yeah, that's right. I see people looking funny at that one, but according to a report, because you're saying, man, why would I even want that? Well, you know, I mean, being able to recharge your battery anywhere at any time might be something that a lot of people are interested in, or just the technology of it. So according to a report by Technorati, urine-powered batteries might be the next thing coming up. Now they're saying it seems we'll have one more reason to bring our cell phones into the bathroom, but not just to play those games behind the scenes. According to Technorati, a top 100 overall blog, GigaOhm reports that researchers at the University of West of England have come up with a microbial fuel cell that will break down urine and create enough energy to charge up a cell phone to text and surf the internet. Now, as though there weren't enough reason to worry about a wealth of germs on our cell phones and stuff like that, now they're coming up with this. According to the people, they're saying so far the microbial fuel power stack that we have developed generates enough power to enable SMS messaging or text messaging, web browsing, and to make a brief phone call, said the project team leader, Dr. Loanis. They're saying that making a call on a mobile phone takes up most of the energy, but we will get to the place where we can charge a battery for longer periods. The concept has been tested, and they say it works. It's now for us to develop and refine the process so that we can develop the microbial fuel cell, that's the MFC, the microbial fuel cell, to fully charge the battery. Although the battery was used to power a cell phone, it's likely we are not going to be asked to provide a periodic urine sample for someone, a mysterious port of our latest Samsung or Apple iterations of that battery. The fuel cell currently is as big as a car battery, and researchers will likely work on our system hooked up directly to our home sewage system to provide low volt energy when we simply plug devices into it overnight. Now, as far as being able to power your cell phone and stuff like that, having this type of microbial battery system, a lot of people might look at this and say, man, I don't want that. But think of the technological implications of such a thing. Everyone has septic tanks in their homes, whether it be apartment buildings, whether it be a standalone home, whatever. Septic tanks exist. So to be able to take urine and use this microbial cell to power devices, right now the thing is as big as a car battery, but imagine a generator being put in that you don't need to use gas anymore. No more gas. No more having these loud generators buzzing, brrr, and you can't even think because you have these loud things going out, and then you have to worry about the noxious fumes. So if this thing is by a window, your window's open, you go to sleep, you may never wake up again. Imagine being able to have a generator in your yard or in your apartment, because maybe apartment complexes can now afford to have this. Having this thing, so apartment complexes would have this microbial power cell or fuel cell that's powered by urine hooked up to the septic tank system. It uses the urine in there to power the generator so that when lights go out, you have constant supply. Constant supply of power because people are still going to be using the bathroom and so forth. So you're going to have that constant supply of power never running out. Apartment complexes could definitely use something like this. You could have people hooking this up into their homes so that they constantly have power without gas, without electricity as far as like solar power or something like that. I mean, the implications right now might sound weird, but if you think about it in a futuristic sense, if you think about this thing as far as something of the future, definitely this could be something that people gravitate to if it can be provided to provide practical use for people in the world. And I definitely think this is something that has that ability. It might sound weird, it might sound gross, you might say, man, who would want that? But if you have this generator built into your house, or it's in your backyard, or it's buried under your backyard, and you just have the outlet that comes up, and it connects to your sewage system so that it can provide that power when the electricity goes out, boom. This thing kicks in with enough power to maybe power your TV, power a fridge, and maybe like charge some small devices. Maybe it doesn't provide enough power to run your house like it has power already, but enough to power vital systems like a stove if you have an electric stove, like a television, and then provide enough juice to charge up your cell phone or your portable devices. Definitely, this is something that, in my opinion, could be useful. Just depends on how they use it. Definitely could be useful. I'm interested to see. We're going to keep on top of this progression and see how this thing works out. I mean, to have a urine-powered battery charger, the ability to use urine to power battery might sound weird at first, but when you look at it from a technological standpoint, these guys are onto something. And definitely, from a scientific standpoint, this is one way to carry that eco-friendly power cell to that next level, because you can't get more eco-friendly than using waste as a power source. Using waste as a power source. And so, I mean, definitely we're going to keep on top of this here on Tech Pulse. I'm definitely interested in seeing how this thing works and how this system is going to work. But let's head on to Tumblr. The iPhone app has been fixed. Tumblr had a little spoof a while back and a little goof up, and their system has been, according to a report, the system has been fixed, and we're going to talk about that a little bit real quick before the break. Now, according to SlashGear, Tumblr, their iPhone app anyway, is fixed after a plain text password goof was spotted. Now, Tumblr was forced to rush out a patched version of its iPhone and iPad apps and has advised all users to change their password after researchers discovered that the app had been transmitting login credentials in plain text. Now, the new version of the app, released to the Apple Store overnight, fixes a flaw where usernames and password details were transmitted without any encryption. So your username and password were full, wide open for people to see. And if the user had a connection over a public or compromised Wi-Fi network, so if you're at a hotspot at a Starbucks or a food store, like here in Florida we have Publix has an open Wi-Fi network, or some apartment complexes have open Wi-Fi networks for their residents and stuff like that. So if you were in a public Wi-Fi or a compromised Wi-Fi network, those credentials could feasibly be sniffed by third parties and stolen. And the security shortcomings was spotted by an iOS app auditor, the Register reports, while in the process of checking which apps were suitable for use on the corporate network. And previous versions of Tumblr app came up clean when it came to what data on the phone it had access to. But a check of the network logs shows that the iOS software wasn't following best practices when it came to password security. The Tumblr iOS It's sending the password over plain text and not over SSL, the researcher said. This occurs when you first log into the application, although it didn't check past the initial login screen. The setup differed from Tumblr's login process on other platforms. On the desktop, for instance, the microblogging service, which was acquired by Yahoo for $1.1 billion. We talked about that earlier in the early in Tech Pulse. Passes all credentials through the SSL connection. Now, according to the researcher, attempts to report the flaw to Tumblr's security team fell on deaf ears. However, since the issue has become a high profile, Yahoo and Tumblr have finally responded and they have fixed the problem. They say the fear is that Tumblr's users accessing their account in public over unsecured connections could have inadvertently handed over access to anybody sniffing traffic, handed over access to their accounts. When they did that, the advice is not only to change the password on Tumblr now, but on any device that use the same login credentials. So Tumblr and Yahoo are saying that if you used their app on an unsecured network recently, as of a few days ago, they're saying, because they just fixed this app yesterday, so if from the, say, the 13th to the 17th, if you've used their app, if you logged in, they're saying to go ahead and change your Tumblr username and password, especially if you have the same username and password for other accounts. Change it now, so that because it was unsecure when you used it on Tumblr, and other people may have had access to that information, but as of now it has been fixed. So for those of you that have had that happen to you, go ahead and change your password. According to Tumblr, this thing is fixed. Now we're as usual, we're coming up on a break right now, but coming up after the break, how would you like to travel from New York to LA in 45 minutes? That's right, New York to LA in 45 minutes. How'd you like to travel? And from US to Beijing in 2 hours. How would you like to travel? That mode of travel could be coming up very soon, but you're going to hear about it first here on Tech Pulse. So just stay tuned. After the break, we're going to talk about that coming up right in a few minutes. So just stay tuned to Tech Pulse. Don't touch that dial.